Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Vivid Earth. It's Anina. I'm finally back. I know I've been absent, and I wanted to wish you a happy 2025. I hope this is going to be an incredible year for you. I'm sorry I have been quiet, but I feel like I needed the time. I just was needed some quiet soul time to reflect on things, to make sure I walk into 2025 with authenticity, with substance, with really a message of substance to bring you guys. Otherwise, what am I doing? So really just been reflecting on what it is that I'm doing, what I'm doing in this movement. uh, you know I initially started this channel to add something to the movement, to help people awaken, to support them. And I wanted to just really reflect on where I am on that mission. Sorry, I've got incense blowing all over the place. While I'm at it, I need to show you my beautiful new incense holders. Oh, well, something just fell. It's I'll try and share a picture. It's a beautiful wooden board with burnt edge of the lotus of life, which is the real flower of life, by the way, not the one of separation that we've been seeing around this, especially the new age community for so long. So this is the real lotus of life, the real flower of life that basically has a, oof, this one is like smoking. It's a new amethyst incense I bought. It's really smoky. Anyway, maybe that's a good thing. But so it's in spirals. So everything is spiraling. So there's nothing that's separate from one another. So if you saw the previous flower of life, it's all these like separate circles and then they overlap. But that still installs a sense of separation, doesn't it? So this one is all about unity, the fact that we all are one. It's life is a spiral. Everything in the universe is made out of spirals. Um, and yeah, are you ready to take it up a notch this year? I certainly am. 2025 is going to be a defining year where life as we know it will shift and it will likely never be the same again. The changes that we're going to be seeing in this year, 2025, it will be more than we've experienced probably in our lifetime, even more so. And that's a conservative estimate. So 2025 is going to be incredible. And I would say probably the first 3 to 4 months of the year will be so absolutely mind-blowing that we will not have believed it, just a couple of months ago. I think maybe a lot of you guys in the community would believe it because we've been waiting for many of these changes. But many other people, the ones that are not awake to anything that is going on, will certainly never have expected it. Yeah, for the ones like I assume everyone on this channel who's been doing the research, who's been doing the inner work, who's been curious about what's really going on in the universe, um, you've done the work, you've done the research, you've gone down the rabbit hole, you know what is coming, and we all doubt sometimes whether we've been had just again once more, whether we've been fooled, whether we've been lured into some cult. Because speaking to our family, sometimes we feel like, oh, maybe it is really a cult because everyone looks at me as if I'm nuts. I know the feeling, guys, and we all know that feeling, but you're not nuts. You are the way shows of this new earth because you came in to do that. And you got triggered at a certain point to be part of this movement of change because change doesn't happen without, it happens within. So if enough of us is really manifesting this change on earth, it's the best word I can think about now, but it's not quite the right word. Well, guess what? The new change will come into effect and affect the whole earth, really. It doesn't need every single human on this earth to be awake, but it does need a certain percentage. So you are that percentage. You are that, if you want to call it 144,000 or whatever you want to call it, chosen ones, star seeds. Let's not be too much in the ego about this. We've got a real, very serious job to do, and there's no time to be in the ego during this time because it's such a critical time on earth. Really, we are literally on, the one of those tight ropes that those people, they go from building to building, walking on a tightrope. Well, that's where we are now. We're still on the tightrope. We're almost there. We can see the other side. We have confidence in it, but we're still on the tightrope, and we cannot lose grip. We cannot lose focus. We cannot lose. Yeah, it's like when you start doubting, that's when things start going wrong, and that's the last thing we need right now, because we are on the precipice of enormous change. And what is certain is that many people will need your help, my help, all of our help. And this is what we've been preparing for. This is why we woke up early, so we could be ready when the rest of the world wakes up. Because if you wake up everyone at the same time, there will be chaos on the planet, as I'm sure you know. So, sometimes change happens. We would like to think that it can happen quickly, but in fact, it cannot happen just all of a sudden. There is a phase where the drip, drip, drip becomes the flood. But I think, we've got to be cognizant of the fact that the number of changes on this planet that we are speaking about, it cannot just happen in one go. It cannot just happen all of a sudden. You've got to desensitize the masses gradually to certain things. And that is why certain narratives are being fed into the mainstream media, or semi-mainstream media, if you will, so that people can start getting used to the idea. So all these seeds currently are being planted, and being planted at quite a monumental speed, I might add. If you just look at, what Trump and his administration are planning for the first few months of his administration and his presidency, he's not even in office yet, and we've heard so many things, so many encouraging things, including, um, making major changes to the IRS, the entire health system. Guess what? The entire medical system is going to be upended. But he can't just come out and say everything is corrupt and, and make massive change in that way, because people are still too indoctrinated, the masses, that is. Sometimes we can operate in a little bubble and we don't see how brainwashed the masses really are. But if you have the opportunity, just put yourself in those 3D situations and, talk to people. No, I don't try and force all these conspiracies, although I hate that word, down their throat, but that just get a sense of where their head is at, and you will see that people are not ready for all this truth at once. It has to happen slowly but surely. But certainly 2025 is going to be the year that everything is condensed. I think it's kind of one of those kind of deadlines where, things just have to shift now. There's no more time to wait. And so I think we have been prepared, and things will speed up. January is going to be like nothing we've seen. We've seen a few inklings. It's only the third of the month now, so there's still a lot that will happen. They're still, certifying Trump's inauguration. That's supposedly happening on the 6th, and his actual inauguration on the 20th of January. And we've seen some strange things in the US. We've seen the fog thing, going around basically all of the states, or most of the states. We've seen the drones, the UFO activity, and all these weird things. We've seen mass shootings. Of course, we must expect some attempted false flags. I think most of them will be nipped in the bud, hopefully. But if you're on this movement, you know what the deep state is capable of, and that the likelihood of this is definitely there. So we still have to be very vigilant and careful. But the truth is, the dark's time is up. Their time is up. They've had their moment of glory. They messed it up. They took advantage. They took advantage of us. They took advantage of the planet, and they took advantage of their own, abilities and powers to the detriment of others. And this will not go unnoticed, and it hasn't gone unnoticed. And this is it, guys. 2025, I believe, is the turning point. It's like I always use the analogy, it's like a cruise liner. If you want a true cruise liner to turn around and go in the opposite direction, Well, that doesn't happen quickly. When you have a small little motorboat, you can literally just turn on a dime, but not when you're on a cruise ship. Now, our planet's a bit like a cruise ship. Change cannot just happen in one day. It's got to happen slowly. And, when you're at that point thinking, we're never going to turn around, we're never going to go the other way, suddenly you're facing the other direction and you're in a whole new um, chapter. And I think that's what's going to be happening on Earth. It's going to be that drip, drip, drip flood situation. And when we wake up one day, it's all just going to shift. It's all going to be done. So hang in there, guys. It is an exciting time to be alive. Don't forget that. So I had to move the incense because it was smoking me out, literally. Yeah, it's a new incense I bought. So this beautiful incense holder will be up on the shop next week, vividearth.shop, one word, vividearth.shop. And then the beautiful ceremonial grade Palo Santo smudge sticks will be there as well. So it comes like an incense stick, but it's pretty thick. I don't have one here right now, but it's beautiful. It's ceremonial grade. So if you want to do a little ceremony for yourself, sit with your soul and just have a little beautiful ceremony, this is great to use for that. And what I've also done with the incense holders, I put different crystals on different 6 points of the circle, and you can use your own crystals, whatever it is that you want to bring forth, manifest, connect with, discover. You can use the crystals that are going to help you in that moment to get the answers that you need to get, because it's not about getting the answers from the crystals. The crystals are just enhancing your innate powers. So, 2025, there's no more giving our power away. There's no more being dependent on things outside of ourselves. But if we can be not attached to these tools and we can use them to enhance our own abilities, then I'd say go for it. It can definitely help you set up a sacred space and, set the tone for a meditation or, um, a conversation with your higher self. So this is the year where we will access that higher self and get our own answers. So, I also feel like, when I was a bit ill, just before Christmas, I wasn't online much because I had a massive headache as well, apart from the flu. For literally 5 days, I could hardly see out of my eyes. So I couldn't spend much time online. I would just get this heat wave like flooding my body when I'm online for more than 5 minutes. So, but what it actually did for me is it pulled me away from a lot of the online stuff, away from the videos, away from the posts, away from the intel. And it was actually a welcome break. I promise you. Nothing will happen if you miss a few days of intel. So I dare you to give it a try, because your soul is crying out for you to connect with it. And your higher self is always there for you to connect with. But you've got to make time for it. If you are too busy and your head is too busy and you're too busy following other people or other things or giving your power away, well, guess what? Your higher self is not going to give you the honor of that guidance because you don't honor the higher self. So that is something that we really need to work on in 2025, because ultimately we're going to get all of the knowledge and wisdom that we ever needed from within and not from without. So we need to stop seeking out there for things. It doesn't mean that you can't do a little bit of an update on Intel, absolutely, but you've got to be disciplined about it. It can't take over your life. It cannot become just another addiction. Like, as we move away from old social media channels, are we just going to all go to Telegram now and swap Facebook for Telegram and just let that become another addiction that distracts us from our real work and our real purpose? So it cannot become that. So you've got to be extremely self-disciplined. And it's ultimately about mental power. You've got to work on your mental power this year, because it requires self-discipline, it requires commitment, it requires time. You meditating, you reflecting on certain things, the answers that you're seeking, just sit quietly and reflect, and connect, switch off that busy mind, and you'll actually find that the answers might just come to you. And that is how we develop our intuition as well. The intuition don't just come to you because you wanted to. You've got to do the work. You've got to be disciplined about it. You've got to give your higher self the time of day and speak to it, and do your daily affirmations. Quiet those negative thoughts. You can't profess to live in 5D when you still have all these negative, lower vibrational emotions coming up every day. So you've got to be mindful of your own behavior and nip those in the bud and swap them out for, much more beautiful, joyful, and loving thoughts, because love is the key. Love is how we enter 5D. Love is how we anchor in new earth on this planet, and into our reality. There's no other way. There's no shortcuts. There's no artificial way that you can do it. It ain't going to work. There's only one way, and that's through the heart. And when I say through the heart, it's not attachment and being overly emotional, because emotions is not having an open heart. Being emotional is actually part of that 3D construct where we are just led around by emotions. Rather, this new earth mentality is a state of neutrality, or as it's also called, ineffability, where nothing can sway you, nothing can affect you. You have such peace of mind. You see things going on around you, positive, negative. You have compassion for people, but you don't get your own emotions, tied up in the knot, because you can't help other people like that. You've got to reach a point of neutrality. Take the 40,000 foot view. That doesn't mean you have to be cold and uncompassionate. Not at all. But it means that you are the calm in the storm, that you are that neutral, consistent voice of reason that somebody else can rely on. So these are the things that are very important this year, because as I said, we need to step it up this year. There's no more holding back. And when I say that, I don't mean you have to be all like go, go, go. You've got to take action and do things, because actually taking action is a very masculine thing to do. And we all have masculine qualities and feminine qualities. So I'm not saying anything about that, but you have to it's time for us to start nurturing the feminine qualities within us, and that is the being qualities, the receiving qualities. The masculine energy is the doing, right? The taking, the action. The female is receiving, being, that intuition, that creative manifestation of things without, the action part. So that is the part of us that we need to unlock more, that we need to connect with more. And you will find it's going to be very rewarding if you do that. So let's experiment with these things. Why not? We all want to be better. We all want to step up a notch. Well, the mind can't do that for you. It's only the soul that can do that for you. So let's give it a try. I challenge you. And if you want to chat about it, join us on Sunday at our first Vivid Earth 5D Mastery Zoom. We have one every week for our community. It's really just, about creating community, because that's the age of Aquarius, and talking about different subjects and reflecting on different things, asking questions, bouncing ideas. We support one another. We become a very like-minded, beautiful, supportive community. And some people interact more than others. If you just want to put your mic off and your video off and just listen, you're welcome to. Other people love to participate and share their wisdom as well, ask questions. People will help one another. There's questions that come up that, people can have some answers or support for you on, so it's a beautiful community that we're creating. So on Sunday will be our first one for the new year. I took a little bit of a break the last Sunday of December, but it's back in the saddle, and it's time for us to reconnect. We've been at it for 9 months now. It's a very small community, to be honest, but that's totally fine. Whoever's meant to be there will be there, and whoever is, resonating with that container of that I've created for you guys will come. So no pressure, but if you want to check it out, you can see it on my website, vividearth.org. That's ORG. You just scroll down, you'll see there's a membership option. You can see how to join. Is this a small monthly fee, which really just pays for web maintenance and all the admin stuff around newsletters and web administration. But if you can't afford the $8.88, just pop me an email at live@vividearth.org, and I'm happy to gift you a membership. It's not about the payment, and I want it accessible. And we also normally just share the link so people can try it out on a Sunday. Just watch out for the link. But that's happening at 7 p.m. SA Standard Time or 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, daylight savings, I think. So you can kind of work out your time frame or your time zone from there. And we'd love to have you if you feel so called. So what's happening in the world of Intel? There is an interesting thing that was shared on the debt clock today that I just wanted to look at you. There's a quote by Andrew Jackson from 1834. You are a den of vipers and thieves, and I intend to root you out, and by the eternal God, I will root you out. If Congress has the right to issue paper money, it has given them to be used by themselves and not to be delegated to individuals or corporations. You can see this has been going on for a very long time. 1834, this quote was. And the US debt clock always have interesting messages for us. There was a lot of rumors that the RV or currency revaluation was going to happen on the 1st of January, specifically starting with the dinar. But, there's been so many dates set that I don't follow those dates at all. It will happen when the time is right, and I don't need to stress about it. You just surrender it to the universe, and it will happen when the time is right. It will happen. We will have, some form of Nasara Jasara. It might not be called that. It might not be rolled out all at once, but there will be some form of Nasara Jasara happening as of this year. And we will see some form of debt forgiveness, but we don't know when. We were expecting this actually 3 years ago, and here we are still waiting. So if you're going to just, get all attached to dates and when it's supposed to happen and give up all your personal freedoms and decide not to take any action or make any changes in your life, well, then you're going to be very disappointed. So we will all benefit when it comes to pass, but we cannot be obsessed about when it happens, how it happens, the details of it. Just, trust that you will be taken care of. And, if you feel like getting some XRP, gold, silver, what else? Dinars or Zim bonds, then do that. But don't be obsessive about it, and don't be fearful about it either. We all just, be prepared to lose it all if it doesn't come to pass. But I don't think that'll happen. But all I'm saying is, as with any investment, you have to be prepared to lose it. Yeah. If you are relying on it with all your life, well, then that's not a good situation to be. So just get some. Don't be greedy, don't be desperate, don't be fearful. Those are not vibrations that are going to make you abundant anytime soon. So remember, it's about your vibration. Ultimately, it doesn't matter what you do. It is about what you are vibrating and sending out into the quantum field, because like attracts like, and whatever you're sending out in the quantum field is going to come back to you threefold. So make sure whatever you put out there is of a high vibration, because sometimes we actually forget. We don't even notice the negative talk anymore. We don't notice the low vibrational emotions or the fear or the anger or the frustration anymore. It's just like, oh, well, that's just part of life. Well, it's not part of life. If you have those, that you have to become mindful of it, and you just change it one emotion at a time. It doesn't have to be one day you wake up and it's all gone. It's a continuous work in progress. We all are, sometimes fall victim to that. We all part of this human experience. We all are still somewhat anchored into this 3D reality, even though many of us may be living already in 5D in many parts of our life. We are still a little bit entangled with this 3D world. And so you're going to be falling victim to those emotions from time to time. But it's about just, feeling them and letting them go. Don't hold on to them. Don't wallow in the negative vibration. Just, know that we all can do better. We all deserve better. And it's so difficult, but yet it's so easy to just change your state of mind. It really is. And that's the continuous work that we do every day. And sometimes we get stuff coming up, whether it be shadows within ourselves or ancestral trauma or things that come up that make us feel just terrible in that moment. And just acknowledge it. Don't suppress it. Don't push it down. Acknowledge it, feel it, reflect on it, and then be ready to let it go. That is the biggest part of our job that we need to do here on this planet right now. The biggest part of your mission is to do the inner work, to give your soul the time of day so you can spend time with it, connect with it, and start getting the answers and developing your own intuition, your own clairs, your claircognizance, your clair audience, your clair, all the clairs, whatever your particular gift is, whatever you're particularly good at, but we all have it. It's not for a selected few. As human beings in this reality, we all have the potential to develop our gifts, to choose to develop our gifts. But we cannot let ego get into the way. And I want to touch on something. I actually wanted to do a whole video on this, on something that I call spiritual ego. So a lot of people, they've gone through this whole awakening process and then they got stuck into the ego, and they just created a new identity for themselves in the spiritual community, and they've tied their ego to it. So it's about being someone in the spiritual community, being someone in the spiritual world, having these gifts. And if you don't have them, you can fake them, right? I mean, there's so many fake gurus out there. It's incredible. So, we really have to learn discernment more than anything, and watch our own spiritual ego, because we can all fall prey to it, and there's all sorts of entity attachments as well. So some people don't even know they have it and they will deny it at all costs. But if they really, really get honest with themselves, they will recognize that they have spiritual ego. So we've got to be really, really mindful of that, because this is not the time for spiritual ego. Why make this big transition into the spiritual world when you're just going to bring your ego with you, right? It's like, what's the point? You've wasted all this time and energy to create just another false reality for yourself, just another false identity for yourself that isn't authentic, that isn't real. So 2025 is all going to be about getting real with yourself and getting authentic. I've already spoken about the year of the snake, which is starting on the 29th of January with the lunar year ending, the previous one, the year of the dragon, and the year of the snake is starting. And it's all about transformation. It's all about shedding old skin. So we need to be prepared to take things to the next level within, not without, within. Take things to the next level this year. Be serious about your own spiritual transformation. Be serious about your own spiritual growth and development, and be disciplined and be mindful of all the traps that are out there and all the fake gurus that propose to help you through this journey, but then don't. Anyone that is taking your power away from you, stop listening to them. Because if it can support you, it can help you. But if anyone is saying, only I can do this for you, only I can lead you to the light, only I will be able to teach you how to connect with your higher self, run the other way, run a mile. because you know that that person doesn't have your best interest at heart. And, I think while we're still in scarcity mode on this planet, even more so, there's a lot of fake spiritual gurus that are just out to make money, and they will pump up their numbers. And even some of them are agents, for the three-letter agencies. They're there to derail us in this movement. So be very, very careful and continue to work on your own discernment, which means if you really develop your intuition, your connection to your higher self, that's how you learn discernment, because you will instantly feel the energy of that person if they are indeed service to others or service to self. There are a lot of service to self that pretend to be service to others, and all they do is disempower you. All they do is mislead you, and all they do is take you down the wrong path, and you'll be wasting a lot of time, energy, and probably money too. So you don't need money and you don't need gurus to connect with your higher self. You don't need them. Sometimes some external help is good, but don't be totally dependent on it for your own development, because the truth is you have everything that you need within you, and you are infinitely powerful if you will only allow yourself to tap into that power, and not the physical 3D presence and physicality of it, but this spiritual aspect of it. Once you have stepped into and accepted that you are a divine being, once you've stepped into your own divinity, it's a different ball game. I promise you. It gives you so much confidence. It gives you so much innate sorry, give me 1 second. Sorry guys, I got pulled away again. I have to run, but I hope that was a bit of an update. I didn't update, of course, any intel. I'll dive into a little bit more intel today. I mean, tomorrow or the day after. In fact, might be Sunday, hopefully. But I hope that helped you guys. I hope that encouraged you guys. I hope that inspired you guys to go within and to do your work so we can be ready for this big shift, because a lot of things are going to be relying on us. So do the work. If I can quickly, let me see if I can share my beautiful incense, which I wanted to share with you. Just give me 1 second. See if I can do this. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay. Okay, so can you guys see that? So there's the wooden board with the incense. Those are the crystals and the Palo Santo incense or smudge stick, ceremonial grade. I think it's pretty neat because always my incense messes all over the place. And this board is pretty big, so it actually keeps all the incense on top. And then with the lotus of life and the crystals, it just creates a beautiful vibration. So I'm loving my boards. I will hopefully have it on the shop by early next week. And oh, did you see that? I think maybe you didn't see that. I just saw a button now that said share. So I think I didn't share it. There you go. You can see the board, the crystals and the incense sticks. And that's it. Beautiful. Love it. So yeah, watch the space. Going to be on the shop early next week. Otherwise, just send me an email at live@vividearth.org and I'll make a plan to get it to you. That's it for me, guys. Take care of yourselves. Just send out love to your neighbors, to your family, to your pets, to the whole world. The world needs love right now, and it needs you. So shine your light and raise your vibration every single day and get those negative thoughts out of your head. And I will see you very soon. Sending you much love.